Okay, welcome everybody. We're ready to start the third shiur in the series on Torah Aleph and Likutei Moharan. Is that right? Yeah. This is the fourth shiur in the series on Likutei Moharan Torah Aleph, and we should wrap up the Torah tonight. We should bring everything together to its final siyum tonight for this Torah. And I want to mention to begin with that this shiur is in honor of the upcoming Yahrzeit of Ratzel Bat Chaim, and in memory of Michael Beryl ben Shmuel Mordechai, and for Refuah Shlema for Yaakov David ben Evra. Okay, so a quick mention, first of all, and also a hello to Daniel and Svi, and all those other people who are watching online, the recorded version of the shiur. We're very happy that you're around, and we're thinking of you while we're giving the shiurim also. Okay, so last shiur is very interesting, and it's a good way to introduce what's going to happen in this shiur. So in the last shiur, we actually did not say one word inside. We didn't progress by one word inside in the Likutei Moharan. We spent the whole entire last shiur explaining a way to understand practically how the concepts of Chachma and Malchus relate to us in our own lives, right? And I wanted to point out, because it's so beautiful to see how there's different people who see things in a different way, who take things in a different way, and who appreciate things in a different way. That some people at the end of this year last week thought were like a little disappointed because we didn't actually go through any words in the Sefer. Right? And not disappointed, just wasn't their favorite way to go about things. And for other people, it was like the best type of shiur, where it was like explaining how it relates to me and you know how I can bring it into my life and how I can accomplish things with it. Right? So we have to know that there's different people, and sometimes in a shiur, when we're going through the words and fitting things together, sort of in a technical way, some people will enjoy that, and some people will have to, just be present. and other times when we're explaining outside, it'll be the opposite. So there's a lot of different people, Baruch Hashem, and hopefully everybody can get something at various different times from the shiurim. So why am I saying that as an introduction now? Because we're going to finish off the Torah today, hopefully, and we're about to do some of the technical work. We're now going to take all the concepts that we discussed, and we're going to plug them in to this story of Rabba Bar Bar Chana from the Gemara in Rabba Basra, and also to the pasuk that Rabbeinu started off the Torah with, Ashrei temimei darech from Tehillim. And yeah, so let's just remind ourselves quickly, so it will all come together in a nice way. And please, if you don't mind, to pass these sheets out. This is just a diagram that I made to help us understand how everything fits together. Leave me one if you don't mind, so I can. And I'll put the diagram on the video also. Okay, so we talked about this idea that a Yid needs to always look in the world to see the Chachma in everything, meaning to understand how everything has a reishis, everything has a Chachma, everything is created by the Ribono Shel Olam and is constantly being recreated and brought into the world with that wisdom of Hashem. Everything that happens, every object, every moment, every emotion, every sense, everything that happens to us is a direct revelation of the Chachma of Hashem into the world. And a person needs to always be aware and needs to always be looking for this. And the way that the more that a person is able to do this, they bring this Chachma into themselves. They bring the Chachma which was connected to Yaakov Avinu, the person of Chachma, which was connected to the sun, the Shemesh, which is an illuminator in the world, which brightens the way and allows us to see clearly and allows us to see the world in the way from the perspective of Torah goggles, right? And the way that we can start to do that is to refine our midah of Malchus, to become people of Malchus. And we explained that what that means is that when we're able to let go, and we're able to remove all of the yesh aspects of us, all of the self aspects of us, all of those things that are the midas and the tendencies and the ways of thinking that take us away from Hashem and block block what Hashem has in mind for us, block the shefa that Hashem is constantly giving to us. When we are able to remove those aspects of us, we enable ourselves to receive what it is that Hashem is giving us. We enable ourselves to receive that chachma, that wisdom, right? We just got to get out of the way and allow it to happen, right? And through doing that, we're able to slowly, as Rabbeinu brought in the pasuk, we're able to hoylechu ma'or, to continually go and illuminate a little bit more and a little bit more. The more we work on this, the more will bring light into us, and the more that our aspect of moon will receive the light of the sun, and the more the moon will grow to be eventually like the light of the sun, right? This is our avodah in from this Torah. Very bekitzer. Obviously, we spent a whole shiur on it, so that's the bekitzer. So now we're going to understand how this whole concept that we've been talking about is hinted to in this story that Rabba Bar Bar Chana wrote, or is written in the name of Rabba Bar Bar Chana in the Gemara in Bava Basra. So in case you didn't hear previously, or in case I didn't explain it, in the Gemara in Bava Basra, there's a bunch of stories, 15 I think, that are called the Guzmais of Rabba Bar Bar Chana, the wondrous tales of Rabba Bar Bar Chana, and they're very strange. And it's next to impossible to have any simple understanding in what these stories are saying, right? It's this one that we're going to hear now is the most easy to understand, is the least abstract of them all, and they're very hard to understand. And the story is that Rabba Bar Bar Chana came to Rabbeinu in a dream, maybe not even in a dream, in a vision, and said to him, "Why have you not explained the meaning of my stories? The time has come that I want you to explain the deeper meaning of my stories, and I will tell you what they mean. I will help you," said Rabba Bar Chana to Rabbeinu. So the first 15 chapters of Likutei Moharan, which are a lifetime of inspiration and study and learning, tremendously deep, right? The first 15 chapters are all explaining these stories. So we just understood this whole concept of chen and malchus and Torah and chachma and how it all relates together. Now we're going to see how it's hinted to in the story of Rabba Bar Bar Chana. Okay, hi everybody. It's actually late night. After the shiur was already finished, my wife pointed out that we actually missed out on a paragraph when we were learning through in the shiur. And it's a very special, sweet paragraph, so I don't want anyone to miss out on it. So I'm gonna just go over this paragraph and add it into the video later. So hi everybody. Everyone's gone from the shiur, but we're gonna go over this paragraph now anyway. So this paragraph is very special because it talks about the connection between Yaakov and Yosef, and how we see that this concept of Yaakov being this tremendous person of chachma, and being able to bring that chachma into himself, and how he became a person of chen, and how he lived with chen, and then he gave that over to Yosef, and Yosef was the person of chen. So let's see it. Inside, it's the paragraph before the story of Rabba Bar Bar Chana. It starts like this. Al Kain, Yaakov shehu bechinas seichel. Yaakov, who is this person of wisdom and seichel, as we explained so many times, he was the person who personified seichel and wisdom. Al Kain zacha lechein. Therefore, he merited to achieve this existence of chen, of charm and grace, and have this special existence where his spirituality flowed out through his physicality. And when you saw Yaakov Avinu, you didn't see his a person, a body walking through the world. You saw that the illumination of wisdom and of his soul flowed through his physical body. He had this tremendous charm and grace about him because of this. He merited chen. Kamosha Kosov. How do you know? Were we making it up? No. Pasuk says, Bereshis Lamed Gimel, Ki chanani Elokim. I would translate this as, Hashem chenified me. He made me chen. He made me a person of chen. Valkein, and since he was this person of chen, Alkein beirach es shvatim b'chein. Therefore, he was able to bench the shvatim with chen. He blessed all of his sons, the 12 tribes, with chen. Kamesha Kasav, Hayeladim asher chanan, like the pasuk says over there in the same place, the children that you chenified me with. We would say in English, you graced me with. But he's connecting chen to them also. He's the only one who can bless with chen, because he's the person of chen. Ubenyamin, so he blessed all the tribes, all of his 11 sons, 10 sons I guess, 11 sons, with chen, but Benjamin wasn't born yet. So what happened? Al Kain, bercha Yosef b'chein. Therefore, Yosef had to bench him with chen. Yosef blessed him with chen. Kamesha Kasev, like the pasuk says, Elokim yechancha bani. When Yosef blesses Benjamin, he says, Elokim yechancha bani, that Hashem should chenify you, my son, should give you chen, should make you a person of chen. V'davka Yosef haya yachol levarcha b'chein. But it's only and specifically Yosef who could bless him with chen. Why? Ki Yosef halakaya kalul b'Yosef min b'chinas Yaakov. Yosef was really like an extension of Yaakov. Yosef is the one who became the Iker Tolda of Yaakov, the Iker offspring, the Iker continuation, the main continuation of Yaakov. Kamesha Kosev, like the pasuk says, Breslov and Zion, Ele Toldos Yaakov Yosef. So the pasuk says over there, and we always notice this when it comes up in the weekly parsha, that the pasuk says, Ele Toldos Yaakov. If you want to tell me what the offspring of Yaakov are going to be, you should say Ele Toldos Yaakov, and then explain what all of the different offspring of Yaakov are. But that's not what the pasuk says. It says Ele Toldos Yaakov Yosef, and then right away it switches to Yosef and doesn't talk about the rest of them. Meaning what? What do we understand from this? We understand from this the Torah is telling us that Yosef was really the main continuation and the main extension of Yaakov. Ele told us Yaakov Yosef. In fact, we know that one of the probably the most famous of the Svarim HaKadoshim, one of the earliest, was called the Toldos Yaakov Yosef, named after this very pasuk, Rabbi Yaakov Yosef of Polonoi. Ki Yaakov and Yosef kechad chashivi. Yaakov and Yosef are really considered as one, even. To such an extent was Yosef part of him. Valkain, Ne'amar Yosef, well, we'll get to that in a second. Yosef, for me personally, really, I think, probably we shouldn't say such things, but I think that Yosef really could be my favorite personality, my favorite story in the whole entire Torah. It's just such a special story and so heartfelt and heart-rending, the way that the whole story goes. And I told a few of you before that I remember the first time that I was able to go through these parshas that are at the end of Sefer Bereshis that speak about the life of Yosef, and I was able to go through them with Shnaya Mikra Vechad Targum, Rashi, and learn through them in a really solid, deep way. A number of years ago, when I reached the end to the death of Yosef, I just started crying. It affected me on such a deep level. Yosef is such an amazing personage in the Torah, a very, very special person. And you see that really he's like one of the three Avos. He's on the level of Yaakov, and we see this in many other ways also. But this is what Rabbeinu is telling us over here. Yaakov was a person of chen because of his focus on wisdom, chachma, and bringing it into himself, and not allowing it to be tainted with his own, bad traits and his own physicalities and his own negativities. He opened himself up to the wisdom of the Ribono Shel Olam and allowed it to fill him up. And so he became a person where the ches came in to his malchus of nun, and he made chen. And he transferred this over and taught his son Yosef to be this person. So the pasuk says by Yosef, Bechor Shoirei Hadarloi. Bechor Shoirei Hadarloi. So the simple translation is that the firstborn ox will return to you, I think, is the regular translation. But Rabbeinu is going to show it in a deeper way that fits right in with our Torah, like this. Obviously, Bechor hu bechinas haseichel. We said already that Yaakov went after the Bechor, the firstborn, the right of the firstborn, and we said, what's Yaakov going after? He wants a little bit of extra inheritance. Doesn't sound right. And we understood that the Bechor was really referring to Chachma on a deep level. Bechor and Reishis, it's the first, like the Bechor is the firstborn, so too Reishis is first. Reishis means first. And we know that the Pasuk says Reishis Chachma. Reishis is connected to Chachma. And we know that the first of the spheres, the Reishis of all the spheres is, in certain counts, is Chachma. Right? This idea of wisdom of Chachma is intrinsically connected to Reishis and to Bechor. So the Pasuk by Yosef in his bracha, in V'zois HaBracha, is Bechor Shoirei Hadarlei. Bechor, the first aspect, is wisdom. The second word is Shoir, Shoirei. V'zeh, Shoirei. So Bechor, hu bechinas haseichel. V'zeh hu Shoirei. Loshen histaklus. So as you're going to see later on in the shiur, that the word shor, shin vav reish, and over here shin vav reish vav shoirei, is the root of that word is really connected also to the meaning of deep searching and looking. How do we see it? So there's a pasuk that says in the Chumash in Bamidbar. Just 1 second, let me find it here. It says, here, it says, Bamidbar Chaf Daled, Asherenu v'loy karev, which the explanation of that is that I can see from a distance, but he's not close. So the Ashurenu, shor, lashon shin reish over here, means on a deeper level the idea of looking, especially looking from a great distance and looking in a certain spiritual way, like the Targum Onkelos explains the lashon of sachise, which is the Gemara uses this lashon by referring to sacha b'ruach hakodesh, that he looked deeply out with ruach hakodesh. With like a type of prophecy, a very, very deep looking. So he's explaining that this word, Ashurenu, and over here, Shorai, is really a lashon of istaklus, of looking closely at everything. As Rabbeinu said in the very beginning of the Torah, someone who wants to be this person who lives on this level of fixing up their malchus, removing all their boundaries and allowing the wisdom of the Ribono Shel Olam to come into them and illuminating them with wisdom, that person has to always be looking for this wisdom in everything that he comes across. Every object, every person he meets, every feeling he has, everything he eats, anything in the world. A person has to always be looking for this wisdom. That is this idea of shoirei, bechor chachma, shoirei, always looking. Hadarlai, v'zeh hadarlai, and this is what hadarlai means. Tirgem Onkelos, zivle. Our Onkelos translates it. Onkelos is always giving us the pnimius of the Torah. Zivle, loshen or was a beautiful light for him. So this idea that he had the chachma, that he was always shoring for, he was always looking for, was a zivle, was a light, was an illumination for him. Ki haseichel me'ir loy b'chol davar. Because the seichel illuminates for a person everywhere they go. A person of wisdom always sees clearly, always sees an illuminated vision of everything that they come in contact with, not a clouded, unclear vision. Even in a dark place, the seichel illuminates for a person. When a person merits to be on this madrega, to be in this existence where they look towards the seichel that there is in everything. And then, that brings a person close to Hashem Yisborach. So, we see that Yaakov personified this existence of chen, this existence of allowing the wisdom of Hashem to overtake a person, to fill up a person, and to light them up. And the Torah tells us this. The Torah specifically uses the word chen by Yaakov. You don't see it all over the place, right? It's unique. It says ki chanani Elokim. Hashem chenified me. Hashem gave me chen. And then he blessed his sons with chen. And Yosef became, who was his main offspring and his main continuance. He became a person of chen. And he had to be the person. He said, Yaakov blessed him with chen. He said, Elokim yechancha bani. That's how Yosef blessed Binyamin. Because Binyamin wasn't there at the time that Yaakov benched everybody. Yosef was the continuation. He was also a person of chen. And that's why we see that Yaakov and Yosef were intertwined and were really like one existence. And Yosef was the main continuation of Yaakov. And that's why it says, Ele told us Yaakov, Yosef. And the two, Yaakov and Yosef, they are really the paradigm that the Torah is showing us of this tremendous existence of being a person of chen, being a person who allows the wisdom to overtake them and allows the wisdom to freely enter them without being blocked by our own negativities and our own bad traits and our own physical desires and all of these things. Rather, we make ourselves like a malchus. We make ourselves leis lamigar me klum. I have nothing of my own. I remove my negative physical desires. I remove my negative character traits. I allow all of that to be set aside. I remove myself. I remove my yishus. I mevatel myself. I turn myself into nullification, into nothing. And I allow the wisdom of the Ribbon Shalom to come into me. I become this person of chen. That was personified by Yaakov and was continued on by his son Yosef. And now we'll continue on. We'll go back to the shiur from today and continue on explaining the story of Rabba Bar Bar Chana and the pasuk of Ashrei temimei darech haholchim b'toras Hashem. Okay, everybody have the spot? V'zeh perush Masha Amar Rabba Bar Bar Chana. And this is the explanation of that which said Rabba Bar Bar Chana in the Gemara in Bava Basra. Hai gala de matba lesvinte. This wave that sinks the ship. Mischaze ki tzusisa de nura chivarta beresha. It appears like a spark of a white flame at its top, at its crest. Umachinan le ba'alvasa, and we beat it with a staff, de chakikale ekye asher ekye, that had inscribed upon it the name of Hashem, ekye asher ekye, which is translated as I will be as I will be. That's the story. Right? Strange, right? So we're going to now see, if you look beside, you have the commentary of the Rashbam. There's actually no Rashi on the Gemara in Bava Basra at this point. So the main commentary is the Rashbam. So the Rashbam just says, Tutzisit denura chivarta, a spark of a white fire. He explains, Eish lavana, it's a white fire, umalach mazikhu, and it's a damaging angel, a destructive angel, is what this white spark of white flame on top of the wave really means. Okay, that's the story. This is Rabba Bar Bar Chana. His story is this wave that sinks the ship appears like a spark of a white fire on its top, like on its crest. The way I envision that is, that a big wave that has a white cap as it crests, right? The white part. It appeared that part appeared to be a spark of a white flame. So we beat it with a staff that had inscribed on it the name of Hashem, Ekya Asher Ekya. That's the story. Let's see how Rabbeinu explains it as relating to this Torah. So he says, first of all, gala, not the Hasidic food, not the boiled pig's feet jelly. Baruch Hashem. Okay, gala, hu hayetzahara. The wave is referring to the Yetzirah. Why? So one of the commentaries I saw said because it's like a barrier. It's like a blockage that prevents us from connecting to the Yetzer Tov, connecting to Hashem in the right way. And I personally envision this idea of the wave being like the Yetzirah is mamash trying to smack us down and to overtake us and bring us down, just like Rabbeinu said in the Torah earlier, that he's trying to bring us down into the Yetzirah is trying to bring us down into the malchus of the Sitra Achra, the kingdom of the other side. He's trying to prevent us from raising ourselves and connecting to Hashem. Rather, he's coming over us and pulling us down like a wave. The matba l'sefinta, that is trying to sink the ship. Hu hachein v'hachashivus. The ship over here refers to the chein, the charm, the grace, and the chashivus. This is what we were talking about at the beginning of the Torah, that in order for us to connect to Hashem in the right way and to have our prayers answered, we must have this midah of chein, of charm, of grace. And that is when we are able to bring the chachma into us and to allow the ruchnius, the spirituality, to illuminate us from the inside out. Right? That's chein. And that's what the ship refers to. How does it refer to this, you'll ask? So it's a lashon of safun v'chashuv. Safun v'chashuv. This means there's a pasuk referring to, it says, Usifune temune chol, that your treasures are hidden in the sand. And it's actually used to understand something about the techelis, the chilazon that's used to make techelis, that it's hidden in the sand. But sifune, your treasures, precious things. The lashon of safun is a wording of preciousness and importance. And that's what the root of the word svinta is, the Aramaic word for ship. So it's trying to sink the ship. It's trying to bring down the chein and the chashivus of the Bnei Yisrael. It's trying to bring down and sink it. That's what the Yetzer Hara is trying to do. The matba l'svinta. Sorry about that. Ki ha-Yetzer Hara roitze lahatbiya ulahashpil. It wants to drown us and to lower us down, chas v'shalom. B'chinas ha-chein v'chashivus shel Yisrael. It wants to drown our chein and our chashivus. B'chinas malchus de kedusha. It wants to tear down the malchus of kedusha, the kingdom of kedusha that we've tried to build up. Umischaze kitusisa denura chivarta beresha, and it appeared to be a white sparks of a white fire on its top, on its crest. Why? Why does the Yetzer Hara appear to be an angel of white fire? Because in the beginning, the Yetzer Hara dresses himself up to us like mitzvahs, in the form of mitzvahs. He comes to us looking like a tzaddik, looking like a malach. And he coerces a person as if he's trying to coerce him to do a mitzvah. How do you see this? Everybody identify with this? So many times the Yetzer Hara will try and trick us in this way. The Yetzer Hara knows that he's not going to get us sitting around this table to go and have a ham and cheese sandwich. Right? For most of us, it's not really a difficulty. He knows that he's not going to be able to get us to go and bow down to idols. Right? Hopefully. That's not really our challenge. And he doesn't approach a person in that way. The Yetzer Hara is a genius. And he has tachbulas, he has plans, and he works with us in a sinister, deceitful, evil way, right? So what does he do? Like, you can all imagine your own examples, but I could try and think of a few. So, for example, let's say you have, there's this famous story, probably told over 50 times in my life, but that a kollel, younger man, a person learning in kollel, who fancied himself to be a real Talmud Chacham, right? He was getting very upset because he would spend all day learning, and he would come home after his day of learning and walk in the house, and, his wife wouldn't have her makeup on. She maybe didn't put on a nice dress for when he was coming home, and the kids are screaming, and the house is a mess, right? And he comes home and he's like, what kind of honor is this? I'm learning Torah all day. The Torah should be honored, right? I'm learning Torah all day and I come home and it's a mess and my wife isn't prepared properly and the kids are screaming and the dinner isn't cooked, right? It's not proper, he thought. Right? I like how anyone with any connection to reality right away gets a grin and a laugh on their face for the story. Anyway, so they decided, the time that this story took place was in the time of the Stipler going, the famous Stipler, famous Paisik in Yerushalayim. Rav Chaim Kanievsky's father. And so they decided they're going to go to the Stipler and they're going to ask him what they should do. So they went in and the husband told over his whole thing and he said, it's kavod Torah, honor for the Torah. This is not proper kavod Torah. It's not right. And so he asked the wife, what do you think about this? And she's like, I just don't have time. I'm drowning. the kids are going crazy, and I have to clean this, I have to take care of the finances, I have to do everything, and I can't pull it together. I need help. Right? So they came back together, and the stipler said to him, you know what you need to do for Kavod HaTorah? He said, Nema Blezel, pick up a broom. Sweep, help her. Your wife needs help. She's drowning in the house. Right? This is the genius Yetzer Hara that comes at you in the form of mitzvahs. He's coming to this younger man and telling him, you need to learn Torah. The best thing in the world you can do, which is very often true, is to learn Torah. And you got to do it in the best possible way. So you got to spend your whole entire day, all morning and all evening and everything, and that's your job. And everything else is secondary to that. Meanwhile, this person had an obligation in his home, and he had to ensure that his wife and his children were taken care of, and they weren't. And she needed help, and that was really what he needed to do. So Baruch Hashem, they had the stipler to put him on the right path and to show him what really needed to be done. But that's the Yetzer Hara. That's how the Yetzer Hara starts against us. The Yetzer Hara doesn't come against us as dressed up like a devil, right? Like a mean bad guy, because that we already want to push away. We don't want anything to do with that. He comes in a deceitful, devious kind of way against us. So we all have aspects of this in our lives. You could think about it for yourself, how it relates to you, but across the board, it happens to everybody on a certain level. I happen to think that's a great story to explain it. Everybody with me? So that's the white, the spark of white fire that looked like a malach of this wave of the Yetzer Hara. That's the way the Yetzer Hara comes. And the Rashbam is telling us over here, and Rabbeinu says that Afal Pikein, it's a malach, it's a what's his lashon? A malach maziku. It's a destructive angel. It looks like a tzaddik, but really it's a destructive force that you have to be careful of. And it's trying to take us down, to pull down everything we work for, all of our work to make ourselves into a malchus, to remove our negativities and our selfishness, and to allow the wisdom of Hashem to come into us, to build ourselves up into this malchus of Kedusha. This Yetzer Hara, this wave wants to break all that down and destroy us. So what do we do? What's the answer according to the Torah that we learned so far? The rest of the story says, so we beat it with a staff that had inscribed upon it the name of Hashem, Ekye Asher Ekye. I will be as I will be. So if everyone wants to take a look at this chart that I made over here. It was written on the stick, inscribed on the stick. And they beat down the wave with this stick in the story. So now we're going to explain what that means on a deeper level. So we'll listen to the words, and then we'll explain how we can maybe understand it a little bit easier on the chart over here. It says, Hainu, she'ikar hachna asai shel Yetzer Hara hu hayedei Torah. How do we beat down the Yetzer Hara? It's through this concept of the Torah. Meaning, when we learn Torah and we apply Torah to our lives and we look at the world in a Torah way, as we explained in the last year. Shikula Shemoisav Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Torah is called, in the deeper sources, the Torah is one long collection of names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The whole Torah is called Shemoisav Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's called names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what the Torah is called. And on top of that, so first of all, the names of Hashem were inscribed on this staff. The names of Hashem is the Torah. The Torah was inscribed on the staff. How else do we see that the Torah is related to this staff? So he says, "VaTorah hi bechinas vav." The Torah is connected to, conceptually, the letter vav. How do we see this? So first of all, he doesn't write it here, but we know what's the meaning of the letter vav in Hebrew. What does it mean? V something else. What? And. So vav is a connector. Vav is the connector. It's this thing, v, and this thing. So the Torah really is that thing, so obviously, that is the connector between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's the connector between us in the finite world to the infinite. The Torah is that thing which dances between the finite and the infinite, that is infinitely deep, and we can never get to the end of it, right? It's our connector to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's the vav. that connects us to Hashem. Torah is Vav. And Rabbeinu says weiter, Ki haluchos arkan Vav v'rachban Vav. The luchos, the tablets that were brought down when Moshe came down off the mountain, were 6 amos by 6 amos. Actually, probably tefachim. 6 tefachim by 6 tefachim. Meaning what? What did Moshe Rabbeinu go up to the mountain for? To bring down the Torah. And he brought down a physical representation of the Torah, which is the tablets, the luchos. And the measure of the luchos, not coincidentally, was 6 by 6, Vav by Vav. Right? The Torah is Vav. You see it in the luchos, you see it in its essence. It's the end. It's the Bnei Yisrael, it's us and Hashem. It's the link between us and Hashem. That's what the Torah is. Vav. And this is what this word means, alvasa, which is a funny word for a staff. But this is the shape of a staff. Dahainu maklois. It's a staff. The vav itself looks like a stick. It's the shape of a stick. Dahainu maklois. The chakik aleha ekye, that has ekye asher ekye inscribed on it. Hainu shemais, the names, bechinas Torah. That's what the Torah is. It's all names of Hashem. She bechinas vav, which is vav. This vav represents, this staff represents the letter vav, and which is the Torah 6 by 6 and the connector, and it has inscribed upon it the name of Hashem, which signifies and represents all the fact that the whole Torah is the names of Hashem. That's what this alvasa is, what this staff is. It's the Torah. So we beat down this wave with this staff, the wave which is the Yetzer Hara. What do we beat it down with? With the Torah. Hainu shemois bechinas Torah, shem bechinas vav. V'havav hu tzures makal, and the vav is in the shape of the staff. V'hi kula shemoisav al shem yisbarach, and the whole thing is the names of Hashem. Hainu she'aTorah hakedosha hi machnia es Yetzer Hara. What are we saying? The staff which represents the Torah humbles the Yetzer Hara, beats him down. Sheroitza lasis as adam meshuga mamish, because the Yetzer Hara wants to make us crazy, mamish. Actually, how do we see such a thing? Well, how do we see that the Yetzer Hara wants to make us crazy? There's a famous Gemara that he's going to say over here. That when does a person do an avera? We have a klal, a principle. And this is something that the Netziv Shalom brings down all over the place, that you'll hear me say many, many times. And he says, there's nothing in the universe more powerful than a Yid who is sitting with Yishuv Hadas. When a Yid is focused and does not have anything confusing him, right? That is the most powerful force in the universe, right? So how does a person do an Aveira? It's when they're not in that state of mind. Says Rabbeinu weiter, Chas v'shalom, ki bal Aveira hu meshuga, because someone who does an Aveira is a meshuga, has gone crazy. Like Chazal say in the Gemara in Sota, everybody has heard this before, Ein adam over Aveira, elem im kain, nichnas boi ruach shtus. A person does not do an Aveira unless a spirit of folly, is the best translation, enters him, right? If we were clear and we were settled and we were connected, we would never do an Aveira. Has to be that something shakes us up, something gives us this ruach shtus, this spirit of folly, something puts us into this realm of being a meshuga. So a meshuga is like, this part of the shiur is not going to be overly politically correct, but we'll figure it out. Right? Like a crazy person. It makes you like a crazy person. Person not in control of their faculties. That's what the Yetzer Hara does to us. Right? So, hameshugayim. Now listen to this. Just remember, this was written quite a while ago. Hameshugayim tzrichim lahakoisam velasum alehem shemos. So, just like by meshugayim, by actual, crazy people, what did they used to do for people with, I guess severe mental illness? So they didn't know what they were doing. They used to beat them, and they used to take amulets with Kabbalistic names written on them and place them on them, right? So this is what they used to do, and we're all thinking like, wow, they really used to do that? Yes, they did. No, we don't do that anymore, with one exception. We sort of do that, and I happen to have some connections to the medical field a little bit, and there's one thing where I think we can see that we sort of still do something like this.
Shocking.
What?
Shocking.
Exactly. So I happen to know someone who works as an anesthetist, and and it's my wife, and so sometimes she has to go and give anesthesia for these people with certain types of mental illness who receive shock therapy. So that's where they, just like you can imagine, you've probably seen it before in the movies where they turn on the shock and right? So they do this nowadays, even. And from what I'm led to believe is that they do it, and they do it because it works, but they don't even know why it works. It just works. They do it, and it helps, and it works. So I always thought whenever I get to this point in this Torah, that's something where I can sort of relate it to our time now. So just like nowadays, certain people with certain types of mental illness, they get sort of beaten, they get shocked, they get afflicted a little bit, right? And they would put these amulets on them. Still we do this in various different places in the Jewish life cycle. So if you have a baby boy, right? We have a tradition that the night before the bris of a baby boy is probably the most holy event that will ever happen to a Jewish boy, right? Tremendous kedusha, bringing him into the covenant, right? Removing that klipa. There's the Kabbalah is insane with the inyan of the bris milah, and so whenever we have tremendous kedusha, as we talk about over and over again, zel u'mazeh barasi, the negative forces are going to do whatever they can to try and stop it. So we have this tradition that the night before the bris is a dangerous time. So in every Jewish tradition, in some kind of different way, there's some special event that happens the night before a bris. So by the Ashkenazim, we have a thing, in the Chassidim, we have a thing called a Wachtnacht, which is a sort of a watch night, where the fathers will stay up and they should be learning Torah all night long by the boy, and we bring the little beautiful children to come and say Shema by the baby's crib, right? So that the precious, pure, holy voices of these beautiful children are like a protection for him. And even nowadays, we still, we don't ever do this any other time, it seems, but we have these Kabbalistic amulets that we put in different places around the room, around the crib. Svardim, they have a thing called a Brit Yitzchak, where they have a sword or a knife and they go around. Did you do this?
I didn't do it.
No? It's a thing, right?
Yeah.
It's a real thing. A real sword, and they go around and do these, right? There's all these customs. But point being is that you see that when there's an issue of negative forces, we have this custom of using these amulets with the names of Hashem on them, right? Two aspects where we can see what Rabbeinu is referring to over here. But that is the nimshal, right? That's the story. That's the whatever. I don't know what the English translation of mashal and nimshal are, but it's the parable, right? The actual thing that we're talking about is a person who is fighting off their Yetzer Hara, does it by using the Torah. And beats it down with the Torah. It beats it with this staff that the story of Rabba Bar Chana is telling us about. And what the Torah is all names of Hashem. It's it's the real amulet. It's the real deal. It's the actual names of Hashem with no dress up, no Kabbalah, no nothing. That's it. Right? So that's the method, that's the medicine, that's the weapon to beat down the Yetzer Hara, is the Torah. And why do we have to use it? And why are we using this example? Because the Gemara in Soita says that a person does not do an Aveira unless a Ruach Shtus comes into them, unless a spirit of folly, unless they get turned temporarily into a Meshuganer. Right? Kamokain, Mamish HaTorah Sha'iskim, Hu Bechinas Maklos. That's what the Torah is. The Torah is this staff and is these names of Hashem. Shebazeh makin umachninas Yetzer Hara. This is how we beat down and humble the Yetzer Hara. Umegarshin min ha'adam es shigayin, and we send out from the person this shigayin, this craziness. V'ruach shtus shenichnas boy bechinas. And the Ruach Shtus, the spirit of folly that entered him. Bechinas umachinan le ba'alvas dechakik aleha eke. Like this story is telling us, that we beat it down with the staff which had the names of Hashem inscribed on it. That is how Rabbeinu explains that the whole concept is hidden within this story of Rabba Bar Bar Chana. And to finish the Torah off, we have the pasuk that the Torah started with. The Torah started with a pasuk from the longest Tehillim, Tehillim Kuf Yud Tes, which I think is 176 psukim long, very long. Ashrei temimei darech hahochem b'Toras Hashem. Fortunate, happy is the person of perfect path who walks in the Torah of Hashem. Let's see how we can further see a connection to this Torah within this pasuk. So it's like this: V'zehu ashrei temimei darech. This is what this pasuk means. Fortunate, happy are those of perfect path. Ashrei is a lashon of histaklus. So what does Ashrei mean? I don't know if anyone here knows. I certainly didn't know it before I saw this. Ashrei means usually what? Ashrei yoshvei beisecha. Fortunate, happy, right? Oisher v'simcha, right? The root of this Ashrei means happiness. You have Ashrei with an ayin is wealth, and Ashrei with an aleph is happiness. Fortunate, simcha, happy, right? So if you see, there's a pasuk. It's brought down in some of the mefarshim. One of the things that we see when you go through Likutei Moharan is that Rabbi Nachman, his Bekias, Rabbi Weinberger talks about this all the time, his incredible depth of knowledge in Kol Torah Kula, but especially in Nach, and in unusual Hebrew words within Nach, is like out of this world. He knew everything. It's wild. But so this word, Ashrei, Loshen Histaklis, he's saying, is a word that's connected to looking closely. Looking closely. Histakel is different from let's say, ro'eh, right? Ro'eh means to see, right? Histakel means to really look, like carefully, like actively look. That's what histakel means, right? So how do we see that? So he brings over here, in the commentary brings, where do we see such a thing? Bamidbar Chav Dalet. Pasuk says, Ashurenu v'loy karav. We could see him, but he was not close. Right? So and actually in the Targum Onkelos, translate it as a lashon of sachise, like the lashon of samech ches, which also in various different places we see is a wording used for like a real deep vision. Sacha baruach hakodesh, the Gemara says. Sacha baruch hakodesh. That's the way the Targum Onkelos translates Ashurenu, right? The same shorish of this shin reish, aleph shin reish combo, right? Means to look very carefully and very closely, sort of in a spiritual way, right? So Rabbeinu is telling us that this pasuk and it means to look from a distance to something in a spiritual way, right? That's what this word, this shorish of Ashrei means. Lashon histaklus. Ashrei. So someone who's looking with histaklus, who's looking carefully into the world. What was the first thing that the Torah said over here? Right at the beginning of the second paragraph? Ki ish ha-Yisraeli tzarich tamid listakel b'haseichel shel kol davar. The whole idea of this Torah is that a person is always looking deeply, always looking towards the Chachma from Hashem in everything that we see. Once again, in every object, in every person that we meet, in every event that happens to us, in every feeling that we have, every reaction that we have, every food we taste, we're always looking for the Chachma of Hashem. That's what Rabbeinu is asking us to do. To be constantly aware and constantly searching for Hashem in everything we see, for the wisdom of Hashem. That's what this wording is. That's what Ashrei means over here. Look carefully, look deeply, look for wisdom. Temimei darech. So temimei darech means those of perfect path, complete path, right? So everyone knows that Yaakov is called Ishtam. Yaakov Ishtam, right? The Torah says it, those three words very, very clearly. Bereshis Chaf Hei. So now Yaakov played a very sweet and special role in this Torah. Yaakov, we showed that Yaakov was the man of Chachma, the man of wisdom. And that he was this person who always saw the wisdom of Hashem in everything. And we saw it in so many ways. We saw that Yaakov, what did Esav say about Yaakov? Ki yakveni ze pa'amayim. And as I like to translate it, he Yaakoved me twice, right? But how did the Targum Onkelos translate he Yaakoved me twice? Right? Chakmani. He outsmarted me twice. The Targum Onkelos, which explains the Penimius of Torah, is telling me that Yaakov's name means Chachma. Yaakov is Chachma. And we said that the Torah also explains that Chachma is a bechin of the Shemesh. And just like the sun is illuminating and gives us a clear path, and we can see with the sun is Chachma, right? Yaakov is also the sun. Yaakov is connected to the sun. When Yosef had his dream, what did he say? Hashemesh va'yareach ve'achar asar kochavim. We're all bowing down to me, right? And we understand from that it's referring to the Shemesh is Yaakov, and the Areach is Rachel, and the 11 stars are the Shvatim, are his brothers. But Yaakov is Shemesh. He's the illuminator. He's the person of Chachma. And the Medrash said about Yaakov, Mi gila lacha sheshmi Shemesh. Who told you that my name is Shemesh? Right? Yaakov Mamish is the sweetest part of this Torah for sure. He's the person. He's the son. He's the illuminator. He's the person of wisdom. Right? This is Yaakov. He's the person who brought Torah into himself in everything that he did. He's the person who took all of he was in control of himself. He didn't allow his selfishness and all of his midas to get in the way. He just allowed the wisdom of Hashem to come into him, and he saw it everywhere he went. This was Yaakov's life. This is what Yaakov did. That's why he's called Yaakov Ish Tam. He's this person of perfect path. He's the person of Chachma. Ashrei, those who look out and see into the world and who are mistakal, temimei darech, bechinas Yaakov Ish Tam. That's referring to Yaakov Ish Tam. Shehu bechinas ha-seichel kanal. Yaakov is seichel. He's the person of wisdom. Hainu lizkois liistakal ala seichel sheyesh b'chol davar. In order to merit to see the seichel that's in everything, in order to merit to do that, Shehu bechinas Yaakov Ish Tam, zeh zoichin al yedei ha-Torah. We can only merit this through the Torah. Ashrei temimei darech, ha-hochin b'Torahs Hashem. Ashrei, the person who looks, who's going to become temimei darech, who's going to become like Yaakov, Ish Tam, right? How is he going to do that? Only through the Torah, only through bringing the Chachma into himself. And once again, as we explained, it doesn't mean who's going to sit down and learn the Gemara Brachas, Gemara Baba Kama. That is part of it, and that is important, and it's fantastic and fabulous and must be done. Right? We got to learn Torah. But it's also a whole Torah existence. It's living this life where I'm constantly, everywhere I go, searching for the wisdom of Hashem. That's living Torah. Right? It's an existence of Torah. It's being part of this connection of a kujabrichu, a raisa of Yisrael. We're all one thing. I'm living Torah, and I'm living a connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is the way that a person is able to see the wisdom in everything, and is able to connect to Hashem on such a deep level. V'zehu ha'hochin b'Torahs Hashem. And this is the person, this is what it means, ha'hochin b'Torahs Hashem. Ki al yedei shalomed Torah b'koyach. As we said in the very beginning, through learning Torah b'koyach, with strength. We give strength to the Malchus of Kedusha. We build up the Malchus of Kedusha, which is, which is the Bechin of Nun, the letter of Nun. If you remember, we said, Ki yin nun shemesh, right? That the Nun and Rashi said that that's a Lashon of Malchus. The letter Nun refers to Malchus. Lekabel min ha-seichel, when we allow the Malchus of Kedusha to receive from the Seichel. Shu bechinas Ches, which is the letter Ches, which represents the Chochmah. V'azai naise Chen, and through that we make Chen. That's how we become people of Chen. We become people of charm and grace in the eyes of Hashem and in the eyes of the world. V'niskablin davarav kanal, and then our words are received by Hashem. Azai Nis'ale ha'chein ve'achashivus shal Yisrael. Then the chein and the chashivus of Yisrael will go up and will be raised up. V'chol ha'tefillos ha'kashos niskablin, and all of our tefillos and our bakashos, our supplications and our prayers to Hashem will be received. Right? So, in other words, ha'hochim b'Torahs Hashem. The person who is able to accomplish this, and we're all able to do it to a certain level, on our own level, in our own way. The person who's able to do this is a person who's going to exist in this realm, where they're always close to Hashem, where they have made it so that they're bringing in the wisdom of Hashem that exists in everything, and it's becoming part of them, right? I don't know if I said this last time. I don't think I did, but I thought about this. There's this term that like healthy people say, not just healthy people, but people who are really into health. Right? I don't know if you ever heard this before. Maybe I said it. That my body is a temple. Right? You ever heard this? My body is a temple. So therefore, I'm not going to eat anything that's not going to be absolutely sanctified for my body to keep me healthy, right? like athletes, I'm saying, they say this kind of thing, right? So we can really look at this and say, I'm a malchus. My body, my existence, my neshama, my whole self is a malchus, is a kingdom, right? And if I allow myself to see and bring in and focus on the wisdom of the Ribono Shel Olam, I'm going to build myself up into a malchus of kedusha. I'm going to build myself and the supernal malchus of kedusha. I'm accomplishing the purpose of creation. I'm bringing godliness into the world. I'm filling myself up with elokus, with the chachma of Hashem, right? And if I do that, then I'm the person who's ha'holchim l'Torah Hashem. I'm mamish walking with the Torah of Hashem. It's part of me. I'm living this existence. And when I'm a person who's living this existence, and I've allowed myself to get close to Hashem, I've allowed myself to receive what Hashem has to give to me, right? Then I'm in the realm of chen. I'm a person of chen. I'm a person who my words go straight to Hashem and get inscribed on His heart, right? This is how this last pasuk connects the whole entire Torah to that pasuk that Rabbeinu started off with. So this is the end of the first Torah in Likutei Moharan. And like I said, I feel about this Torah that I could continue to learn it every day for the rest of my life. Just it. And I would be satisfied. And I would have always more to find and more depth and more understanding to be able to bring it in on a deeper level. But at the same time, as far as Likutei Moharan goes, I sort of have this feeling about this Torah, like it kind of eases us into Likutei Moharan, right? Because it's got some great, as I said, I like to call them brain explosions, right? There were some amazing things where we saw, the first time when he brought how the ches and the nun make chen, and then divrei chachamim nishmaim benachas, and how the nachas came together, right? It was pretty astounding and pretty amazing. And it's pretty amazing how it connects with the story of Rabba Bar Bar Chana here and the pasuk. But as we go, it's going to get exponentially more brain exploding, and there's going to be amazing things that happen. And I feel like it's a fantastic place to start. And I want to thank everybody for taking part in this first Torah. We learned through a whole Torah in Likutei Moharan, word by word. We got a fairly good understanding of every step along the way, without I heard that I like to listen to the shiurim of Rabbi Moshe Weinberger, right? And so he has this one set of shiurim in particular on the story of the lost princess, which is the first of Rabbi Nachman's Sipurim Maisyos, of his wondrous stories, right? So Rabbi Moshe Weinberger has a set of shiurim on the lost princess. So probably a few of you here know the story, right? It's a very simple, fable-like story. How many shiurim can there be on this lost princess? 42 shiurim on the lost princess. So I heard that my friend Gabi told me this, that when he went to visit Rav Elazar Koenig in Sfas, Rabbi Weinberger, and he told them, we did this thing and we had these shiurim and we learned through the lost princess, and we spent 2 years on it, 42 shiurim, and it was pretty amazing. And Rav Koenig said to him, "That's it? 2 years, 42 shiurim? Why'd you stop? There's so much more you could go through, right?" So I feel like with this Torah, we could keep going forever on one Torah, and we could get deeper and deeper. But we're gonna keep going. We're going to see the wonders of the Torahs of Rabbi Nachman, and Bezos Hashem, every time we'll get a little bit more inspiration and understand a little bit more of the greatness of the Ribono Shel Olam and how He's made the world in such a brilliant way, full of chachma and full of wisdom that we can access. And we're going to understand more about how we can apply these things to our lives and have the Torah of Rabbi Nachman enrich us and help us to become closer to Hashem and live lives of tremendous kedusha. That's the end. Any questions?